Cool.
All right. So, I can open up with the quote for my reading I chose,
Sure.
and it's from uh Michel Faget's reading, and it's on page, let me clarify this. Yeah, page 12. And then it kind of highlights back to the making of like in the process of the film Vampires of Poverty. And it says, like, obviously, the cinema of this era was unable to hide it, nor could refuse to recognize it, that poverty has become the theme, and everyone began grabbing a camera to film the defects, the deformations, the diseases, and the scars of an unequal, unimpoverished Latin America. And then they descended on the poor with their cameras, believing that with such simple act of filming, they were making a document about reality. What quotes did you guys decide on?
Okay, for my quote, it's from the article, Why are the ethical issues central to documentary filmmaking by Bill Nicholas in the page, let me see, page 30, I believe. Oh no, 29. And he said, uh, through the capacity of the audience and the visual recording device to record the situation and the event with greater fidelity, we see in documentaries people placed and the things that we might also see for ourselves outside the cinema. This quality alone often provides a basis of belief. People see what was there before the camera. It must be real. It really exists or happened.
Nice. Yeah. Um, I agree with you both. Um, so for mine, I chose a scene and I chose the part of Vampires of Poverty where the director is waiting for the actors in the hotel room to visit them and so they can talk about their scene. I chose this scene because I know that Vampires of Poverty is technically a fiction film about nonfiction filmmaking, but they violated the rules of nonfiction filmmaking so well that it's a perfect example of what not to do. So I used a quote from Reflection to Release, a framework of values, ethics, and accountability in nonfiction filmmaking. Um, they specifically violated core value number 2, which is about being transparent in your relationships. The specific quote is, filmmakers explain to participants, supporters, and funders what they are attempting to do and why. This kind of transparency engenders trust, reduces the chance of misunderstanding, and registers respect. So when the actors knock to come into the hotel room to meet the filmmakers, the cinematographer opens the door and tells the director that Javier and the family are here. And the director goes, "Who?" So obviously it seems like that he doesn't respect these actors enough to remember who they are. But
Right.
as soon as he comes in, sorry, did I interrupt someone?
No, 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 I was saying you're right.
Oh yeah. Sorry. But yeah, as soon as they come in, he hides in the bathroom, which it's because he's half naked, like he needs to get changed, which is valid, of course. But when he comes back out, he shakes their hand and then doesn't say anything and then just kind of ushers them into the bathroom to put their clothes on, which I mean, the fact that he's using actors in the first place is the least transparent thing you can do as a nonfiction filmmaker, but he doesn't explain to them what their job is. He just tells them to read the lines and they'll rehearse on location. And it's obvious it's their first time meeting, so obviously they didn't tell them what this documentary was about um fully. So how it's supposed to be nonfiction, but they're actually using actors. So if they actually were transparent, I think the actors would probably feel uncomfortable doing it, which is proof that if you don't feel comfortable being transparent with people you're filming, then maybe this isn't a film you should make, which is exactly what Vampires of Poverty was trying to say with the scene, I think.
Yeah, you're right. And like one scene like I like kind of held on to from the film was the scene where like they come to the children with the fountain,
Mhm.
and they pay the kids like strip down naked and get in the fountain because they want to like I guess like exploit them to like enhance like their documentary or their film that they were trying to make. Because like
Yeah.
one question that I kind of came up with for the film was like how does the film like kind of navigate like potentially exploiting the subjects for the sake of the impact of the documentary? And I mean like it came
Mhm.
up like they were paying people like they were like having them like over I guess like oversell like the state of the poverty to like them like being like crazy and like naked and like swimming in dirty fountains, whereas like
Mhm.
it wasn't
Yeah.
really that bad.
Yeah. Especially since they were naked and underage, it was especially uncomfortable.
Yeah, that was definitely not right.
Well, what I think the sense I use is same as you maybe because I use the first film we saw this week. It's Agenda Plodo. It's by the Vicky Fonre, and it seems like the film left in the director is gave money to those kids in the swimming pool. Like
Mm.
yeah,
Mhm.
and the director is keeping saying, "Oh, it is a documentary. It's realistic," but actually he is take put throw the money to into the pool so the kids in can swimming in the pool,
Oh
and
no.
that really changes the realistic like what the audience see from in front of the camera. That's also that's it's not the what we want from the documentary. Like you can't pay it to somebody to show what you want.
No.
Well,
Yeah.
you the yes, we should to pay those people who share their story, but it is most likely to they say, okay, I would like to share with us you. It's not like okay, I gave you money, you need to do this, this, this. It's very different.
Yes, I
Mhm.
agree. Yeah. And yeah, that's interesting because I think you should pay the people that you are filming for their time. But that's very different, like you said, um, than paying someone to do something.
Yeah, like I remember this. Well, this is something like what we saw in second video we saw this week. It is they put those women's face in the plaza. What's that called? The
Mm.
that films like this woman share their story. They have shown their courage and they want their voice be heard by more people, and that is very different because those women want to share and it's more likely to uh share by their own decision. It's not a okay, the director to tell them, I give you money, you need to tell the what kind of story we want it to.
Hmm.
Right, like Tijuana Protection, right? That's the film you're talking about with the workers.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I forget. Yeah.
Yeah, it's it.
Um, how many minutes do we have left, Shanglin?
I think we're well over, so
Yeah, we probably are.
should
We
be
don't
good.
we didn't even ask the questions. I think also though, since we're three people, it's okay that we go over.
Yeah, it should be fine.
Yeah. Okay. Well, do you think we should ask questions?
Oh yeah, yeah. Ask like I'll give like a general what do you think like the central theme or message was of like the film you reviewed?
Um, I think the central message was to be transparent in your filmmaking and to not exploit people
Hmm.
for your own vision.
Right.
I think the central message from my film is how this filmmaking in Colombia and it's they don't care about those ethic problems. They just want to make a documentary and what they in their image like okay in my image the the picture of the Colombia, it's like this, for example, and they don't care about those facts. They just want to show what they want to the audience. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was gonna like kind of like one thing like to go off is like films need to like prioritize actually showing realism over than like a filmmaker like trying to just portray like their own vision and like how they want their film to be seen rather than like
Yeah.
actually like, showing like
Yeah.
Yeah.
the state of the actual subjects of the film are.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. My question is, what was the most disturbing part of this film for you?
I mean, the kid fountain part was a pretty not nice to see. It was definitely, like you said, an uncomfortable scene. And like how, like, I mean, yeah, they paid children to get naked and swim in a dirty fountain just for like their, I guess, their benefit of their. Yeah, I don't really like
Yeah.
seeing that scene.
What
Uh,
about you, Shang?
in my films, I think the most disturbing found is also those kids who take money from the swimming pool, and it is a very dirty pool we saw, and it is because this kid really know nothing about the documentary about this ethical problem. They just want money to have, I would say, to have a better life because they can buy something they want. So, well, it is what I saw. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think the most disturbing part for me was when they used the man's house to film. It just made me especially uncomfortable as a filmmaker because, we're from America where you have to have a permit to just film in a park. So it was just so illegal to me. And I was like, that could
Mm-hmm.
never happen in America. But also, it was just so violating for the person living there. And there's a bunch of strangers in your house filming a video about poverty. I mean, that just can't feel good.
Yeah, I agree. And they're kind of like, I'll just give you money, that should be fine, right? And the guy's like, no, you can't do that. Like
Yeah.
kind of like dehumanizing him. Like he's
Yeah.
like, they just give him money and it's all good.
Dehumanizing is the perfect word for it.
hmm All right, I think that's plenty
Yeah.
long before she gets
Okay,
here.
I'll stop record now.